Stocks in pharmaceutical companies have jumped sharply on hopes that they will be the one that'll present or discover the coronavirus vaccine. In the last month, shares of Gilead are up 15%, and Moderna is up 12%, 50% over the last couple of months. Both plan to start testing vaccines in the near future. Brad Loncar's with me, the chief executive of Loncar Investments, focuses on investments in medicine. You say to me that, there's obviously a race on to find the virus simply on humanitarian grounds.
Absolutely. The first thing I would say is science is what's going to get us out of this. You had a great segment prior where you talked about containment and how important but imperfect it is. I like to say that containment is going to do the blocking, but science is going to do the tackling. And I'm very proud of the way that companies have risen to the occasion to really try to tackle this.
I suppose the uninitiated, like myself in this case, say to you, well, of course they're doing it. They're doing it to make millions. If they find a virus that can solve this, they'll be off to the races.
Actually not. There's usually... that's what you would think, but there's usually not a lot of money in these things. I think companies are getting into it for the right reason. So it's important to define our terminology. There are companies that are working on vaccines. So that's meant to prevent a disease, of course. And then there's companies that are working on treatments to help people who are stricken with it today. Vaccines are a very difficult business. That's what Moderna is doing and has been in the news. I just saw their chief medical officer an hour ago, told them how proud we are of them, but that's going to take a long time to develop and won't be ready for likely a year. So that takes a lot of time and a lot of money. And let's all hope by the time that comes around that it may not be as big of a problem.
But then who would you give it to? Let's assume you get a vaccine, by which time the outbreak has petered away and, everybody's forgotten all about it. What do you do with it then? Next flu season, you recommend everybody gets the coronavirus vaccine? You give it to certain people? What if it takes a year to vaccinate, and it's not really a crisis then? What's the point?
Yeah, well, first of all, we don't know if that's going to be the case. This may come back. A lot of experts are warning about that. And the thing I would say overall in general is there's a lot about this that we don't know today. So you should race to develop a vaccine like they're doing. As far as treatments go, that's Gilead, remdesivir, and other companies that are developing treatments. When you have an emergency, you throw at it what you already have. Might not be perfect, but hopefully it'll make a difference. That's what Gilead and others are doing.
Right. Gilead, of course, is best known for, for the amount of work it does on the HIV field and the number of medications it has there. I'm guessing you can extrapolate experience from one to the other.
Yeah, this drug, remdesivir, I think where there's smoke, there's fire. The fact that the WHO, the US government, and the Chinese government have all highlighted this one says a lot. It's worked against other coronaviruses like SARS and MERS, and just the structure, the polymerase that it blocks is similar to what's the makeup of this coronavirus. And so I think it is a very strong candidate, and that's why it's being rushed in.
And your suggestion there would be, before any investor plows in, bearing in mind what often goes up fast comes down just as fast.
I think Gilead could make $1 billion or $2, $1 or $2 billion off of this. For a company like Gilead, that's not a lot.